the time of the moment. But we are close, and it's just to answer your question like that, Fred. I mean, that's just like Josh said. You're getting out,
Connecting.
communicating, connecting. Like you said, you can't go and just. I mean, you can go street preach all day long, and you're gonna see
Hmm.
demons manifest through these people and come at you and stuff like that. That's
Hmm.
how it works, man. I mean, just like we was talking about that Sonya Massey thing, and just
Yeah.
these demons manifest. I mean, the God of this earth is Satan, and he's getting it. I mean, he's getting it
He's
together. He's running
busy.
out of time. You know that.
Definitely busy.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's running
Josh.
out of time.
Josh, do you think do you foresee the Book of Revelations coming to pass now? Do you think that it's happening within our time frame right now, based on the knowledge that you've read and researched? Do you think that we're living in the last days right now?
I, you know, um, sim- simply put, I do.
Hmm.
I've read quite a bit about it, and the Book of Revelation is full of imagery, and a lot of
Hmm.
people get really confused
Yeah.
um, on because what happens in the Book of Revelation when you're reading the Book of Revelation is it will start talking about something that's happening on earth, and then
Hmm.
it will transition to something that's happening in heaven. And unless you catch that and kind of see, where it says, here's what's going on earth, and then it goes back to tell you what's been going on in heaven at the same time,
Yep.
you might think they're chronological and it's all happening here. And it could get real confusing unless you kind of understand the author and kind of what he's doing in the book. The
Hmm.
author, is of course the Apostle John, and
Hmm.
um, he understanding him a little bit kind of helps to sort of pull back the veil of
Right.
really the book of Revelation is, and I would love to jump into that, um, but as far as just a very quick overview, quick answer, a lot of people are very familiar due to movies and things with the number 666. You've
Hmm.
heard people have heard that a lot, so that's
Right.
something that you connect with, and that's just a number, and
Hmm.
Yeah.
it's 3 digits, and
Hmm.
there is going to be a mark, and that mark will be on the foreheads and on the right hands
Hmm.
of people. There's a lot of debate about whether or not the RFID chip that they're already putting in people in their right hand and forehead, where they're scanning their hand over. When you go into the grocery store, you can get your card and scan your card over this little reader,
Right.
and they already have people with a chip in the right hand that can scan their hand over the reader. And of course, they're saying, "Hey, look at me. Um, no one's going to steal my wallet."
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
This is the new
look,
thing
I
that
got
goes.
safety here,
Right.
and
Hmm.
anyway, there's a lot of things that are spinning around out there about. I mean, there's a awesome podcast, End Time Ministries. If anybody ever gets a chance to listen to their podcast, they do it weekly.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for a very long time. They have a base in Jerusalem, and
Hmm.
they do this every week. But literally, they talk about it like an hour or two every single week. They have like over 1 million followers, and it's they've been doing it for like, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and so uh, there's a lot of content that has went on within that podcast in 15 years. There's no way I could even get
Yeah.
close to touching on
Right.
Josh,
it.
Josh, is that the same one with Urban Baxter?
Yes, sir.
Urban Baxter, yeah.
So
Yeah, I
this is a
watched
podcast.
Yeah,
yes.
they have a weekly show now. You can look it up. You can watch it online. But yeah, it's End Time Ministries. I've read their books, Urban Baxter's books. Incredible stories, incredible author. He's passed away now.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, yeah, real knowledgeable
yeah,
with the Bible and Revelation as well.
That was his deal. And so the people he taught are still just, they picked up the torch right where he passed away, and they're doing phenomenal.
It's awesome.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I think they give a tour every year.
Repeat that. What'd you
Go
say,
ahead.
Red?
I said,
No,
I think they used to give a tour. End Time Ministries would give a tour over in Jerusalem
Yeah.
every year or every 2 years or something like that.
yes, sir. That's pretty amazing. I didn't know y'all followed with Revelation that much. But yeah, Justin, that's true. He and I heard that they're still doing it. And still going every year. I've taken the tour, and he goes through the different sites, the different ancient landmarks. He goes to the Eastern Gate, which Christ is prophesied to come back through. The Messiah is prophesied to come back. So he just kind of goes to all those historical features in the Bible and talks about how it's going to, end up, come back, circle back around to these objects here, today. So
I got a question. Okay, so when you do a funeral and when a person is laid to rest, okay, and you just said the Eastern Gate, when Jesus comes back, he's supposed to come back from the east, correct?
he's going to come through the Eastern Gate.
Yes. Okay, so if you notice, this is what I noticed. So, like when you lay somebody to rest, they're facing east.
You got it.
Is that thing? Is that?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, no.
I didn't know
yeah,
that. Okay, I didn't know that was a thing. Okay.
The dead
Hey,
arise first.
You go
Right.
to every what Jeremy's saying, and you can go to any graveyard.
But
and you see which direction every gravestone is facing.
Wow,
Yeah,
I did not
yeah.
know that.
I've noticed too that there's some facing the west. I've looked and I'm like, okay, so the sun sets in the west. You know what I mean? Our natural sun,
Yeah.
But our Father, Jesus, when he rose, but when he comes back, he will be coming back from the east.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I didn't know
studying
that.
about that, brother. I remember studying about that. Yeah. And
I didn't know
because
that.
I'm in my truck, I see a lot of
Cemeteries and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm always knowing which
Yeah,
direction
yeah,
I'm going, if I'm going north, south, east, or
At the-
west.
That's right. They're supposed to face east. I mean, it isn't something that if they're facing west, something's wrong or something bad.
Right.
But that's the reason why most graveyards face all gravestones east, because Christ is coming back from the east.
Wow.
Talk to me about the rapture.
in Jerusalem.
You want to go?
I want to know. I want his input on. I mean, I want not his input. I want to know about the rapture. I mean, I want to get refreshed. I do know, bits and pieces, but give me your
your theological point of view.
From your
theological point
there
of
you
view.
go, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Fred. Yeah.
Yes, your point
what
of
I'm
view
looking for.
on what that looks like based on your research, your findings, your point of view.
Your belief. What's the Holy Spirit? I mean, yeah.
Any type of information that you have to offer. Sure.
That's a lot. I know y'all like.
Y'all are really y'all asking me these questions that I took for weeks on.
Well, I mean, we're not asking for a specific. Actually, this is just conversation between friends, But I think these are questions that a lot of people have, though, right? And I think that for me, you're the one person that is like, if I know that I need prayer, or if I have a question about the Bible or religion or stuff like that, you're like the direct line that I know, one person that I know to go to, because I know you've done the work. I know you've put the time in. I know that you don't. I know you don't have all the answers, but you're my closest friend, and that my closest person that I would ask these questions to. And I believe, that's what Jeremy's kind of alluding to, that you're that person in our life, I guess, that, if we're going to ask somebody, we're going to ask
you're righteous, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you're on God's, when you're doing God's job like that, like he's got you set up here high, because of what you're doing, and that's what what I see. You're not no false prophet. You know what I mean? You're not out here,
Selling wolf
giving
tickets.
yeah. You're not giving false doctrine or nothing like that. You've studied this. You know this. You've been living your life this way, versus where I've done jumped off the bandwagon here or whatever, and then had, this that. But that doesn't mean my faith doesn't still remain. You know what I'm saying? It's just, we're at different levels. God's got everybody at a different level. He's trying to get us all there where we need to be. You know what I mean? So and a lot of people don't all the rapture is not, and they proclaim that they're, with God and following God. But I was just wanting your input on it, as far as
some people believe in a pre-tribulation rapture.
Yeah, there's a lot of different concepts, like there's preterism, there is a pre-trib, there's a mid-trib, and there's a post-trib. There's a lot of different theories. And so I'm trying to think about how to answer the question in a way that can be appreciated. Let me first say this. The comment that y'all shared is very kind, and it's very moving to my heart. So I just want to say thank you. I've never seen myself as some special person, but I appreciate your kind comments to me today. That's very
you're real, man. I mean, it's we're all real sitting here, but I'm saying you've been that's what I was telling Fred, man. You've been on a journey, dude, and I admire it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure, 100%.
We all do, man.
We all admire the work that you've put in, and man, I tell you, and I know Josh, man, we know each other. We've known each other for so long. I know the journey hasn't been easy. I know it hasn't been. You've been tested numerous times. I'm sure there's things that I don't know that you deal with on a daily basis that we will never understand, because it is a struggle living that type of life. And so it does not come easy. But God doesn't, he doesn't just give this to anybody. And I believe that he said, "Hey, Mr. Reneau, I'm gonna hold you accountable for this." And you've took the torch and you ran with it. And so, like I said, I know it ain't been easy, but here you are, and we see it, the world sees it, and we're proud of you.
You're anointed, brother. Yeah, I know that, man. I mean, you know what I mean? So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. And as far as the answer goes, and Justin, you alluded to pre-trib. So there's various different perspectives on this, and to get into the depths and all of the uniqueness of each perspective, I do take a position. However, I am not dogmatic on that position, because I have studied each one a fair amount, and so I'm not the type of person that says, well, this just because I'm kind of leaning this direction, this is definitely going to be the way it unfolds.
Right.
But to really understand Revelation, like I mentioned earlier, it's best to study its author, and John the beloved is the one who wrote that book. And then to study the book of Revelation, you also need to do a fair amount of study into the book of Daniel in the Old Testament. And Daniel, he is an Old Testament prophet that is the things that he prophesies really fit hand in glove with the book of Revelation.
Right.
And so really, oh man, I wish I had, I've got about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I was already going to wrap it up, because I know you got to go, man.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave y'all with just this. So Daniel prophesies about to the king of Babylon, and he prophesies about this. He basically gives an interpretation of a dream that the king of Babylon had, and he tells him, "King, what you dreamed is Now, this is making a very fascinating story very short, but I'll make it very quick. And he tells the king, what you dreamed. You dreamed of this colossus, this incredible, powerful statue in the shape of a man. And this statue had a head of gold. It has arms and a breast of silver. It has belly and thighs of brass. It has legs of iron and feet part iron and part clay. And he said, you beheld that image until you seen a rock that was cut out of a mountain without hands, signifying that people didn't have anything to do with it. It was a God thing. So this rock, God cuts out of this mountain, and he sends this rock, and it crushes this big, massive image, powerful image on its feet, and it grinds it to powder. And he said, you beheld that until it ground it to dust, and then the wind just blew it away like it had never been there. And then that rock grew and became a great mountain, and it filled the whole earth. And so that is essentially the story of the times of the Gentiles, is what scholars call it. The metal man is a timeline,
Right.
and he tells the king this, so we know specifically. He says, "You, O king, you're the head of gold." King Nebuchadnezzar was a brilliant engineer, and he had engineered Babylon in a 15-mile square, city with 15 miles of these massive walls on each side, 80 feet thick, 40 feet around, old school stone. We're not talking about something you just hit a shovel against and push over. You're not beating through this 80-foot thick wall. You're not digging under this wall. And it's some 300 feet out. You're not going over the wall.
Right.
And so there's no way to get into this city. And then inside the city, it's so much gold everywhere. You walk into the temple of Ishtar, you see, the first thing you do when you walk through the doors, you see this table made of gold with this huge idol sitting on it, made of solid gold, weighed no less than 50,000 pounds of gold. That's just one step inside of the temple. And so when you think about gold in the ancient world, Babylon had all the gold. They had all the gold. Now, he says, you're the head of gold. But think about the progression of this image. Head of gold, breast and arms of silver, gold, silver, belly and thighs of brass. Go from gold to silver to brass, legs of iron, brass to iron. So you notice that as the image, we go down through the body parts of the image, it sort of has this opposite transformation. Gold is more expensive than silver, but silver is stronger. And so a inferior kingdom is coming that will overtake you. It is inferior to you, but it's stronger than you. Right. And then he said there's going to come again, because we got the belly and thighs of brass. There's an inferior kingdom that will come against the next kingdom, but they're stronger. Then you've got iron legs. There's an inferior kingdom coming after that, but it's stronger than the brass. And then it ends this feet part iron, part clay before this rock comes. And so it has this, it goes, each stage of this image, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger to the very end. And so you line that with your history books. This is all in the book of Daniel. Line it up with your history books. You got Babylon, Medes and the Persians come up after Babylon, and the Medes and the Persians, and you're probably familiar with Xerxes, armies, the Persian armies. Well, they overcome Babylon, and they become the ruling power and authority in the world. Line it up with history. Right after that, you've probably heard of Alexander the Great. And so Greece rises up through the influence of Alexander the Great, and he overcomes, and now he's the power that controls the world. And then you probably heard of Rome.
Of course.
Everybody's heard. And so you've got the legs of iron, and that lines up exactly with our history until you get to this last part, which is feet part iron, part clay. And there's this old existing power that's still in existence in that last part of that timeline of the Gentiles ruling the world. And in that very last part of the image, it's feet part iron, part clay. Now, there is one power left over today from the old iron rule of the Roman rule.
Yeah.
Anybody want to
Holy
take a
Roman.
guess?
What is it? Well,
Anybody want to
Holy
take
Roman Empire.
one?
I don't want to guess wrong and look like an idiot on here.
Yeah.
It's the Roman Catholic
The
Church.
Roman Catholic Church. Okay. Yeah, I was
And-
thinking like Russia.
It's that old iron from the
Yep.
legs of iron.
Right.
Yep.
Now, in the feet of this clay image that God said would happen in 606 BC,
Wow.
Wow.
600 years before Christ was born, God prophesied that through Daniel, where we are today.
Wow. Wow.
All right. So
Wow.
that's fascinating. And the clay
Awesome.
is very moldable. You can
Yeah.
push it, go this way and that way. And it speaks of a postmodern world that has no foundation.
Right. Wow.
And clay doesn't adhere well to iron. So we're talking about a very unstable environment that was prophesied to come, and here we are.
Yep.
And so that's one very powerful thing to see is this iron and this clay in this unstable environment. And then there's this rock that's going to come in the middle of that unstable environment, and it's going to smash it to pieces and set it all down, and it's going to grow. And that's the second coming of Christ. First
Amen.
coming was when he came and was born. Second coming,
Right.
when he comes and sets up his authority. Now, Jeremy, your question is about the rapture. And the rapture has to do with the second coming, because is he gonna rapture the church before he comes back?
Right.
Is it gonna happen at the same time he comes back? Or is it
Right.
gonna happen after he comes? So this, there's all these ideas about the tribulation. When is the tribulation going to happen, and there's so many questions about when the trumpet's going to sound.
Right.
Is it going to be in connection with when he returns at the very end of the tribulation? And so
I want to stop you right there.
there's a lot to it.
This is
Yeah.
great, because I want to continue this conversation. I
Yeah.
want to make this a part one and have you on again, and we continue, because man, there's so much information and so many questions that we have. And
Yeah.
man, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And hopefully that we can have you on again soon. I know everybody's schedules, we have families and everything. So, but this was a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I'm so thankful that you were able to join us, Josh. We thank you. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, man. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to end there because because it's getting good. It's already good.
Already.
It's getting good.
Yeah.
It's getting good. And so
Good.
I want to leave it there, okay? And
Cool,
so,
cool,
but
cool.
to this, thank you, Josh, again.
Yes,
Thank you,
Josh.
guys. Thank you for listening. Hit like and subscribe. Hit share, please. Listen to the podcast. We got some great stuff coming ahead. And again, thank you, guys. This is the JJ Red and Fred podcast, the #1 podcast that you don't even know about, but you will.
Oh,
All right, guys. We love you.
all right.
Okay.
Love y'all, man.
All right.
Safe. All right, Josh.
All right.
All right, Josh.